This is Margaret Ann Windsor, the legal heir to the British Crown, Queen Victoria. The second kidnapped in 41 from Buckingham Palace and brought to Moulton, Alabama, where I was given the name of a twin, Peggy Ann Dempsey, married to Childers. And both twins were dead, and the ages weren't even the same, and it was a hellhole. What I'm addressing today is I wrote about mind control years ago and did a medical malpractice, but before I found out about my kidnapping and everything and my real name. I wanted to say that I was flown out to Larry Flint's in '83 when one of the doctors I wrote about, he was U.S. Congressman, his plane was shot down, and by the Soviet Union, it was out of its airspace, and it was Korean jetliner, was shot down, and that's how I become a candidate there. Flown out to Flint's in '83 twice. But the point I want to make here is out at LAX, the shooter. I've told about, from way back, early '70s, mind control victims done in patterns. But and the Tucson and Aurora, Colorado, they're treated for mental illness when one has nothing to do with the other. One is mind control, taking away any civil right you have to think or act on your own, putting it in the hands of someone else, the one doing the programming, and therefore is why they're asking what's the motive. The motive lies within the person doing the programming. The person that's a victim, as in Aurora, Colorado, or Timothy McVeigh, who said himself the military put one in him, a chip in him, and he's been put to death for the Oklahoma City bombing. So the program, the motive lies within the person or agency doing the programming, not with the victim of mind control. So that being said, I want to just do a suggestion, which this has all been turned over and over again to all the media, and they didn't doubt it. Anyway, I'm going to say this. If you don't want to believe me, check out instant messaging. What they're doing is programming a person, or you can program a whole army. You program a person to carry out shooting, any kind of murder. You don't have to use a rifle or a gun, but you use a person's name, and it happens to be, I believe his middle name was Anthony, so it's Paul Anthony, and his last name starts with a C. So you take, and I'm not going to decode all this to you, okay? You can take it or leave it, which is the way it's been done so far. PAC, okay, let's put it aside. Now, that's his initials. Also, his last name, there's nothing funny about it. I've lived in hell. I laugh because of the absurdity and people allowing it to happen. His last name even starts CIA. Whoa, question mark. And then it almost ends with MCIS is what would come to mind, but it's spelled, his last part of his name's a little different. It's CIA, NC, so you can look it up. His age is 23, and that would fit into it. And here's what I want to say. On ABC this morning, when they were telling this, and they're referring to these killings as they're Looney Tunes, like Virginia Tech and all that. They're referred to him as being deranged. No, he's acting under mind control. He's a victim as much or more than anybody else. So I think his last name was Williams, not Brian Williams, but anyway, he's on this morning, and he referred and said that the shooter, Paul, left a note disgruntled with the government and the fact that he mentioned the New World Order. And this reporter, and I quote, said, if anyone subscribes to that belief. Well, I beg to differ there, fella. You better, if you're a newscaster, Maybe it's better you get all your information from somebody else other than former FBI or your psychiatrist who are doing nothing but lie. If they don't know their trade, they need to get out of it. If they don't know mind control from and programming from mental illness, you got a big issue there. You're hurting a lot of people. But the point that I meant to make here too is that, at least I think I did. Um, he referred to them as believing in the New World Order. Well, Obama just made a tape. I believe it's on YouTube. You can probably go to Facebook and find it, where he actually, back when all this was coming down, the shutdown of the government, he actually said the New World Order is in place. Now then, if you haven't watched there is media to be found all over the place where Elizabeth Windsor Mountbatten, who's an illegal monarch, by the way, is part of the New World Order. So is the Bilderbergers, the Rothschilds, the former presidents, the Skull and Bone. Hey, where have you all been? Media and all of you, the congressmen, if you don't know all this. So, I'm going to leave it at that. I mean, I don't even know if anybody's listening to this or not, and I'm sure paying a price for being alive, I did want to say that this King Ferdinand was shot, so you've got Tsar Nicholas was killed. You've got the United States government knocking off monarchs, and then, of course, they got Elizabeth, who's illegal, and her father, and I'm going to show their pictures because they took out my father, King Edward VIII, who was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe Windsor. She's sister to Georgia O'Keefe, the artist. She's American Catholic, was. Of course, they never even acknowledged her other than she was a commoner and she wasn't good enough. That was the Windsors, part of them. But most of it was playing the New World Order. So my uncle, George VI, helped take down his own brother with nothing but lies, put a 99-year seal on it, and steal the crown, and work for the American government, and placing military bases all over the British and uses as a launching pad. Now then, here's his picture, and here's Elizabeth, and here's Larry Flint, who told the truth and ended up in Butner, North Carolina, being tortured. And I'm going to show my father and the double that married Wallace Simpson, an imposter. All this happened. And I'm going to show the Virginia Tech psychiatrist who shot, well, he finished school at Tech, and he was a shooter or program shooter at Fort Hood. So I'm just going to show a couple of these, and I've said it. So here is George, the illegal monarch, sold out Elizabeth and little George, William and Kate's baby. They had the gall right in my face to name their child after the great-great-grandfather, Elizabeth's father, that illegally took down his own brother and lied and sold out his country and kidnapped me, the real monarch, his niece. I hate to say I'm his niece, but that's it. Here it is. This is my father, the real King Edward VIII, the one they all dumped on. The double that married Wallace Simpson. Fort Hood shooter that was programmed, the psychiatrist that went to Virginia Tech where the 33 shootings happened. And I'm gonna have to let it go with that. Hope this turns out. I'm in pretty bad health. Let me clue you. So that's about it. I don't. Where's your press at? You know, maybe they better bone up or not let the New World Order control them, which the Rockefellers control the media, and actually no one wants to hear the truth. All right?